Thank you so much for attending my presentation about the confusing design of Lycanroc Midnight. First, let's talk about the traits of all three forms. Each are mono rock types and all are tuned offensively. Midday and Dusk are very similar with only minor changes. They're each pretty min-maxed, having around 110 in both speed and attack. However, to balance this, these two have very low defenses. Okay, seems fair. The Midnight form is much more conceptually interesting. In exchange for some fine bulk, it loses a sizable chunk of speed, ending up at 82. Not horrible, but not turning any heads. Ability-wise, they all have something solid. Lycanroc Midday probably has it the worst, getting the situational Sand Rush and the mediocre Steadfast. Dusk gets Tough Claws, boosting damage on contact moves. This turns some of its coverage, like close combat, into nukes. Midnight has no guard. While it doesn't impact that many moves, getting a bump to Stone Edge accuracy is nice. Before we talk about why the Midnight form struggles, let's quickly look at what makes the other two strong and their impact. It's pretty simple. Being a fast attacker is super nice. While no, 112 speed isn't the best around, they can outrun a ton of stuff. Plus, they even have stab priority in Acceleroc, picking off faster pokes that have low health. All of this lets them be perfect lower tier cleaners and revenge killers. Having to switch into a Bandit or Life Orb Stone Edge really hurts, let alone if you get sniped by one of their many coverage options. Then, at the end of games, feel free to just obliterate your opponent's weakened Pokemon. While a bit faster, Lycanroc Midday is absolutely worse. Even so, it's been solid in PU for 3 straight generations, and it can even fill a more niche lead role. Set rocks, get your Focus Sash procced, click Endeavor, and probably die. While a bit gimmicky, it can work very well. Dusk has been a higher tier threat for a while now. In Gen 7, the dog found itself in RU, but when it got close combat in Gen 8, it rose to UU. Gen 9's insane power creep has knocked it down to NUBL, but it's still pretty usable and rarely used. Two very cool Pokemon with a lot of success. As you may have inferred, Lycanroc Midnight is worse, but why? First, the idea behind its changed stats are very flawed. Having more bulk is nice, but it's not nearly enough to make up for losing over 20 speed. An addition of 10 to HP, defense, and special defense is wholly inadequate. Plus, it's a mono rock type. This typing is defensively awful, having 5 weaknesses and 4 less relevant resistances. If it was something like Fairy or Steel, it could actually fill the role Game Freak wanted it to. Midnight also has some pretty severe move pool issues. First, the obvious, it doesn't have recovery. This hurts its ability to eat multiple moves throughout a match, but it also lacks Acceleroc, a really confusing choice. With priority, it could at least deal damage consistently, but those hopes were dashed. It makes no sense and really hurts. Despite all these problems, the Midnight form has still had results. VGC was obviously out of the question though. It's completely outclassed by the others who each have fast, powerful rock slides. There is a dumbass skill swap no guard idea that people like to run in low ladder, but it's really bad. The whole idea is basically just, if I can get a guaranteed fissure, I'll win every time. But in singles, it can cook a bit, albeit down in ZU. Lycanroc Midnight's best builds are setup oriented with Swords Dance. This can be powerful, but it often has to sacrifice another move slot to Rock Polish. To be fair, after it gets these two moves off, stopping it becomes very difficult. The problem is actually using 2 setup moves with a not that bulky rock type. With 115 attack, it can rip through almost everything in its path. It doesn't have to run Rock Polish though. While more difficult to just sweep entire teams, you now have extra coverage. These sets like Sucker Punch, which can negate its 4 speed. While not exactly free, it does help. Finally, you can just slap on a choice band and call it a day. It's obviously worse than Midday and way worse than Dusk, but it at least has something. In conclusion, Lycanroc Midnight is a bit sad. While its siblings go on to do well in higher Smogon tiers and even VGC, it's doomed to be untiered forever. I really hope the puppy gets buffed. Seeing it struggle so badly is a bit sad. Thank you so much for watching.